Okay, so first ever spoken video. What we're going to try to do here is we are going to make a shelf, and it is going to be, I've already made the back portion of it, posted it out there. I haven't sanded it down or anything, so it still has some sharp edges around here and such. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It came out particularly well, and I enjoyed it. So we have our other molds that go with this shelf right here. We have our pigments here, and the only thing I have not gotten ready yet, in order to get the sinking that everybody likes so much and is talking about so much, I decided to experiment a little bit and use regular acrylic craft paint, and that's how I got this. You can see that it's not, totally perfect. There are a few teeny tiny little clumps that almost look like just dust in there that sinks with the alcohol ink pigments. And I did it all at once. I didn't wait any time and come stir it or anything like that. I stir it once while we were in there, let it self-level, and this is what I got. So I would like to do something similar with these pieces here that go with that. I have colored parts of this, and I have put glitter in it already. The parts that I have colored, I have done with mica powder, and I have just used regular brush in order to get said mica powder inside of the molds. There are little stars on here. I did the little cat eyes underneath the black. I did it yellow first. And so yeah, I'm thinking that we'll just get mixing and go ahead and pour. In here, I've kind of determined, using my red cups around, that these would be about 300 milliliters of resin altogether, in order to fill all four of these pieces. And so that is 150 milliliters of part A and part B. So I think I will go ahead and just get started with that part first. I don't know why I have a particular fondness, I guess, of starting with part B first. And you'd think that I would start with part A, but I start with part B. I like to have this little desk light, even though I have the big light up there, just so I have a shadow that'll cast through while I'm filling, so I can make sure to get the most accurate measurement possible. And I know I just touched that with my finger, but as you can see, I have a glove on, but I didn't want it to drip and add too much in there. And so I'm just going to take my baby wipe and wipe off my glove, since I was going to wipe off my glove anyway. Now, I just bought the Let's Resin epoxy in their not quite gallon size, but the next size down, because I didn't really want to spend that much, since I didn't have video stuff. My husband just bought me the light setup, but I am enjoying this Let's Resin epoxy. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I am just enjoying it more than what I was previously using. The viscosity is even textured on both of these, and the ones that I was using prior to did not have the same texture for both resins, which I didn't know would be abnormal until I bought this one, and I actually like this one a whole lot more anyway. And I like that they are the same viscosities as each other, the part A and the part B. because then it is easier to judge what our viscosity will be like as we pour in. Lots of people wait a few minutes after they're done stirring before they start pouring. I don't see it as totally necessary, but then again, I mean, mine don't seem to have too many imperfections that I really need to worry about anyway, so that doesn't bother me very much. I got a couple of makeup spatulas just from the dollar store for this exact reason right here. I can just take the edge real quick, and I should have done this before I poured my epoxy together, but oh well, I guess. I can take this sharp edge and just, it's not sharp enough to actually cut the silicone of the stirring stick that I am using, but it is blunt and gives me enough force and has enough sharpness to it where I can successfully get resin off of these items fairly quickly, and then I just go over it with a baby wipe to get all the flakies and whatever off. I do dry it on my pants, just forgive that, and we'll go ahead and stir. And I'm probably going to pause the video while I'm stirring, just because you don't need solid 5 minutes or however long it takes me to stir up this much resin. You probably don't need to watch me do that. I'm not sure where I'm going to post this quite yet, just because this is the first video that I've ever made, so probably YouTube, because I can probably make it a little bit into a more continuous thing. I'm thinking about just posting this for a friend of mine who just got into resin, and I've been doing it for slightly longer. I mean, I've been doing it for maybe about 6 months now, like all together. I started really getting into it very quickly over Christmas, just because I love hand making all of my gifts that I make or get people, and I just wanted to document my journey and what I have made for each person, even though I gave it away. So I'm not making any money off of this. I am just posting it for funsies. I'm not sponsored by anybody, nothing like that, and we'll see if my videos end up somewhat popular or if they just end up kind of disappearing through the algorithm. So I don't see very much more of streaking. It is no longer cloudy, it is now clear again. I do have quite a few bubbles, but I found out in here that it is not that big of a problem with this specific resin. My other resin pieces that I've done for friends and family members have had significantly more bubbles, and this one seems to just, I mean, I don't know exactly how it gets rid of all the bubbles because I don't like watch it intently all the time. I'm done stirring. I'm gonna let some of these bubbles rise and pop them before I even start to pour. And then I will also pop them afterwards before I add my alcohol ink. But yeah, I particularly like this resin. It is very clear. It is very nice to use. It is just very well-rounded, I think. Is the best way I want to put that. That it is so well-rounded. I have watched another few YouTubers using torches. So I use a small torch to do my resin. I used to just, you know, I can click it here and put it on blast. When you lock it when it's open like that, it'll stay. I can move it then across my resin very quickly so I'm not overheating or flash curing any particular spots. I do very much like that, that I discovered that about my torches. So I got rid of the first round of bubbles that were on the top. There are a few hairs in there which may cause some imperfections, but whatever. This, I'm just trying to shake some more bubbles up, and I'm just gonna let it sit. But yeah, so I am using the resin pigment from YRYMHT. This one is amethyst, and this one is fluorite. Again, I'm going to, in my small cup here that looks just like my big cup, I'm going to mix a little bit of white craft paint and the resin I am currently using. It hasn't destroyed my pieces like everybody seems to think that water is going to destroy it. It is a water-based paint, which I thought would totally ruin my pieces, but I tried it once. I tried the white craft paint a long time ago and it seemed to work. And so I am just figuring that I'll use that. It does help with a sinking method to make your alcohol inks a little more filtered out and a little more cloudy and wispy and just kind of fun. I do a lot of just random experimenting. Every once in a while, I don't really know what mixes well with resin and what doesn't, so I'm trying to be very careful about what I mix in with it, just because I don't want any weird stuff happening or things melting or whatever. So I'm just gonna go ahead, pour almost a full cup, because I am going to try and do all 4 of these pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and just start pouring into here. I go back and forth across the mold, trying not to put too much in there at a time, letting it level itself out, hopefully without overfilling it. And then I do have a stirring, poking plastic stick that I got with one of my UV resin kits that I will be using to make sure that I get all the corners and such. Everything gets spread out to where it needs to be spread out to. I'm going to put a little more here. It's going to spread up to the kitty's tail. I'm going to put a little more over here just so I can get it spread into the top part of it. I must be running out of storage space. I guess I mixed too much in this, and I don't... Well, I do have another mold, actually, that I have already prepared that I can go ahead and pour some of this excess in. I wasn't really expecting that, so I didn't make a ton of space to do that. But I guess we're just gonna, yeah, we'll just wing it. This happens every once in a while. It's good to be flexible and prepared. And I guess I was a little more prepared than I thought I was going to be, which is not a bad thing. So I have my other one over here that I also put mica powder in, just to start off with, because I kind of wanted to do all of these ones at the same time anyway, but I did a different one for my husband's and my 6th year anniversary of being together, which was very exciting. We have 2 little boys at home anyway, so it was just, yeah, it was just nice to be able to make presents and, you know, all sorts of stuff. So now I'm running out of resin. So this will be probably one of those ones that I'm going to start doing and have a nice thin layer, kind of sort of half done. Might end up with some weird colors, but we'll just do our best with it and make it look like a happy accident, and everything like that. So, but I'm glad I had this other mold like pretty much partially prepared and ready to go. And while I've been pouring this, my other molds have been sitting and waiting patiently for their turn to be colored. I'm going to set this aside now that it is empty. I am going to put my stick in there just because it'll work well that way. I am now, oops, I'm losing things. I am now going to make sure that all of the bits and pieces of my resin have spread out into all of the appropriate places and nooks. Just moving everything around just a little bit, making sure that this resin does self-level, so it's really nice that as long as you get everything in the right spots, it'll level itself out. I'm going to use my wet wipe to pull that apart a little bit. So as you can see, all of my colors are still sticking really nice. To make it like the other one though, we're going to drop some pigments in there, and I'm just dropping them kind of randomly, keeping in mind that I'm also going to drop another color in here. Oops, so we got an extra drop over there, but that's fine. Just kind of fun to just put some random stuff in there. And now with the greenish, I might put a smaller drop over here and a bigger drop over there. Nice big one there, maybe 2. Just because it's nice. Again, pushing, I like to put it in between the colors to kind of push the colors away from each other. This one I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet, but we'll just kind of make it up as we go along. And I'm going to take this and just start stirring my little colors into one another. Making a fun pattern. It doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat because we are going to go in additionally, and we are going to put the white in there. So I want to get a little bit in the kitty's ears. I want to get a little more in the kitty's tail. I might take some of it and just scoop it up from here and deliver it over here to have some in the tail. Kind of liked that. Do the same over here. Scoop it up a little bit, deliver it into the ears. I like things being in the corners, but nothing in this has to be perfect. Same over here, just gonna kind of swirl them around, go back and forth, get some into these extra pieces. I don't know how well I'm doing at showing these ones over here. I think there's a hair in here that's kind of dragging this around, but that really doesn't bother me, because then the colors actually move a bit more smoothly in between each other. Purple can be a little intense in some areas, whereas the green is not so much, but it's still all fun. All fun. Just to put little swirlies and decorations in and out here, and to my corners, and to my little mixes here. And then I will wait about 5 minutes and mix up my white. As my other stuff is still going through, I did decide I would come over here and just try to drop my resin in a nice thin layer on these, because this did not fully set in. There are some bubbles here around my decals. I am waiting for my white to set up a bit, and while I do that, I figured I would go around. There's little stars in here, and the bubbles get kind of trapped in next to the stars, so if I can push those out, kind of get them all off the corners. Yeah, I find at least preparing an extra mold with some stuff on it, just in case, comes in handy sometimes, because you don't always pour the right amount. And that's actually the first time that I used the resin thing that came with. I had just been using a silicone cup before, so I could have a more reusable option. I am here to make crafts as beautiful as I can, also trying to save money. I have a decent amount of tricks for doing so. I feel like I am losing some storage space in my phone, and it keeps cutting my video out. So I apologize if I lose you guys here, and I will make more. But yeah, just moving these bubbles. I'll show you the process of mixing the paint for the other ones here in just a minute, but I will pause it while I get these bubbles out. Alright, so I'm just doing this because I figured that you guys would be curious about how I did the white. And honestly, I made sure to shake out my white beforehand. Just pour decent sized glob in there, and it sinks in there. So it's definitely heavier than the resin. And then I just sit here and mix it up till it looks, you know, fairly decently mixed. Sometimes I don't mix it like 100% fully, and leave some streaks in there, just because it's interesting and fun to see what stuff will do. But it does, it does mix fairly well in here. It doesn't cause enough imperfections in my pieces to really do much. This one ended up really full, so I might just put a few drops here and there, just a little line, so I don't push too much resin through there. Then I'll get these ones, which I'll make a little bit heavier handed, and then I will kind of stir it up in there. And that would be the last of the white in that one. Okay, and then I'm just going to, you see it's already starting to sink, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of push and just make a fun fun little thing. Push some of that white around so it sinks to the colors in different areas. Just kind of back and forth, I guess is what we're doing with it today. Doesn't have to be perfect. It is mostly for fun. Entirely for fun. Actually, this is a hobby. I don't sell anything yet. I will consider it if I have enough people who are interested in my stuff in particular, but I just make random stuff for friends and family and give it away, because it's good to give to others, and this is a relatively inexpensive way to give to others. So I'm done with that. I guess we will just throw some colors in this one. This is garnet, and we'll just think of colors that are already open. I particularly like this red here. Particularly like that one. I think it would pair really well with a little bit of amber, and I might put 2 in there per space. I'm going to drop. Okay. Oops. Put some more over here. There. And then maybe some of that same amethyst purple. Sorry about that. The phone was going off. There we go. And then we'll just draw through those as well, just like I did with the other ones. I'm not going to add white to this one though. Don't really feel the need to. Wasn't really planned, so it's just going to kind of end up being whatever it's going to end up being. After this, I will click shot, or I will lock shot my torch and get it so it doesn't have as many bubbles. Did color this one beforehand on the bottom, also with mica powder. I also use eyeshadow because you can get a lot of different colors in a single palette that are of all different shades, and I think that's fun. Ooh, that purple went kind of fun. Just get it in there, kind of draw it throughout, try to hit every area of negative space. There's a hair in this one. We'll use that hair to help us swirl it around, and then we'll hopefully scoop it out. There it is. Alright. I will see you guys when it has cured. That's that for now. Thanks.